All right, hey everybody, we're lucky enough to have Roman Zelichenko here. Certainly hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Roman owns a company called LaborLess. You can find them at laborless.io. They automate a part of the H-1B process for immigration firms. Really excited to have him on here because you used to actually be an immigration attorney before you got into the tech side of it. So yeah, can you kind of tell us a little bit about like the transition you made from, wanting to fill out paperwork to wanting to help people not fill out paperwork?
Absolutely. And Ian, thanks for having me. You did pronounce my name correctly.
Awesome.
I appreciate it. So I did practice immigration law. I focused on high volume H-1B, frankly, visas. And part of that process just deals with a lot of paperwork. And so what I realized doing that kind of work myself was that I hated doing the work. I did not like pushing paper. I went to law school. I was really excited about being a lawyer and practicing law. And here I was sort of filling out paper and doing administrative tasks. And I know that that's always going to be part of every job, but it felt like it was more of my job than I really had liked. And likewise, my clients didn't like dealing with sort of administrative paperwork. So for this particular process, so as you mentioned, I run a startup called LaborLess, which automates the LCA compliance process. So that's sort of it's within the H-1B visa process. It's a mandatory compliance thing where companies have to print information, share information that is related to the job that an H-1B worker might have about basically where they're going to work, how much they're going to get paid. It's basically like providing notice to the U.S. workers saying, hey, we're going to hire someone who's foreign. Here's the job that they're going to have. Here's how much they're going to get paid. Here's where they're going to work. And so it's just for purposes of transparency. So clients I worked with didn't like this process. It required printing this piece of paper, literally posting it, hard copy, like on the wall for a period of time and tracking it with a spreadsheet and like putting it into this folder that you then have to keep for 3 to 4 years. And I kind of dug around the laws. That's what I went to school for, to understand the laws. And the regulations around this process said that doing it digitally is allowed. And I was like, why is nobody doing it? I was still practicing at the time, and a lot of the case management, or probably actually none of the case management platforms, I think, as far as I knew, provided the service. So I was like, all right, either I'm totally missing something and this isn't allowed, or people have tried it and failed, or they just like have missed this opportunity, right? And I kind of sort of set the wheels in motion of, okay, I can continue practicing as an attorney. I really love what I do. I love helping people. I'm an immigrant myself, so I really just enjoy sort of working with immigrants and getting people into the U.S. To work and just to have a better life. But at the same time, I'm dealing with this manual process that I know thousands of other attorneys and thousands of other employers are dealing with. What if I spend my time building a solution to the problem that I'm facing rather than just ignoring it and continuing to work? So I kind of went on this circuitous journey of leaving the practice of immigration law, working at a large tech company as an in-house consultant, where I learned everything from how a big business is run to user experience design to, being a business analyst, project management, Lean Six Sigma, like you name it. I kind of did all this stuff that typically lawyers don't do. And I worked with startups on the side. And then eventually I was like, all right, I think I have my idea. I think I know the next steps I need to take. And I broke off and quit my full-time job, my second career, and launched, started working on and eventually launched LaborLess.
Yeah, that's quite a story. That's cool. I actually didn't know you were an immigrant. Which country are you from?
Yeah, I was born in the Ukraine.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so it's well, welcome to the U.S. And I think that's really common with immigration lawyers that they are immigrants themselves or have some sort of connection with immigrants.
Totally.
I was actually moving to Panama and had a bad experience with the firm down there. Otherwise, I would have been living there now. I loved it there. So it's just crazy how like that actual process can really impact like the rest of them living in the U.S. And I love the fact that you're solving a problem for people. Like right then, you didn't talk at all about how much money you wanted to make or how much any of this. You focused specifically on a problem, which is why your business is growing. And obviously, like H-1B visas are, grant denials are going up, but they're not getting less popular. That's cool. But yeah, I'm definitely kind of curious. So like, if people want to get in touch with your company, what's the best way for them to start applying something like this? Because at the same time, I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that just think this is the way it is. It's not going to change. And they just got the blinders on because they get so many emails from people like me that they
Mhm.
just that they just kind of ignore this stuff. So where's like a good way for people to really start in automating this part of their business?
Yeah, for sure. So, I don't know when you're going to end up publishing this interview, but right now, as we speak, I'm gonna date this if we end up watching it, if people end up watching this years later. But we're literally living through the coronavirus pandemic right now, and what that means is that you and I are well, we work from home. I mean, I work from home. I run my own business. I don't know if you probably, but a lot of, yeah, it's a lot of people do, but many people haven't yet. But right now, during this pandemic, especially in the U.S., almost everybody is working from home. So while I typically would, while I've heard so many times people say, as you mentioned, it's the way it is, we're going to stay with the manual process. I mean, this is how I kind of felt when I was practicing. I wasn't given another option. So I was just like, let's keep doing it how it's always been done until I eventually, the reason just to backtrack a little bit, why I even thought about, remember, I went to law school, not business school. Right. But the reason I thought about this was that I worked with a lot of startups as for their, in an immigration law capacity. And I was watching them build all this cool stuff and solve problems. Right. So I think it sort of started moving my brain in the direction of, okay, you can use technology to solve almost any kind of problem to some degree. How can I use technology to solve a problem I'm facing? And then it's like, okay, well, let's think about the problem. And then, again, I got to where I just explained to you in terms of seeing the LCA process being manual. So now it's mandatory, essentially. Not 100% mandatory, but because everyone's working from home and this compliance process is still required as part of the H-1B visa sort of application, um, you can't print and post anything in the office because no one's in the office, right? And again, the idea of this is to provide notice to current workers that you're hiring a foreign national. So even if the HR person goes into the office and prints this thing, the workers that are supposed to see this notice aren't there either, right? And so there's been guidance by the government, there's been guidance by the American Immigration Lawyers Association, or AILA, about electronic LCA posting. So it's actually been kind of crazy to watch this go from a nice to have and really, people who were signing up with us were a little bit more forward thinking, if you will, to now essentially people are just like, I need this and I need this stat. So that's been kind of really exciting and interesting, and to kind of live through as we're all kind of dealing with this horrible coronavirus situation. But if folks who are watching are immigration lawyers or they're in-house immigration professionals or team members, they can go to LaborLess.io, which is our website. Labor less, so you work less. Little pun there, because also we deal with Department of Labor stuff. So I don't know. I thought it was cute. But yeah, they can go to laborless.io. They can also find me on LinkedIn. I'm super active and talk about the stuff all the time. So if folks find me on LinkedIn, I always connect with them, and have gotten a good amount of business opportunities from LinkedIn as well. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, well, there's not really one right or wrong answer. But that was another question I had because you actually have like a full Slack channel where you kind of teach people about just kind of how to promote themselves, and you're really active on LinkedIn, which I like. So it's and I think kind of promoting that stuff has kind of gotten you some buzz. Like you mentioned earlier when we were talking that helped you kind of get involved with Island, do some other things. But how has using content helped you leverage your abilities? Because I understand that's another business you own too.
Yeah, I'm tired thinking about all the businesses.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
are
no,
for
for
a while.
sure. Look, they go hand in hand, right? If you, and I say this to immigration lawyers all the time, blogs are incredibly important, right? Lawyers, especially. I was actually talking to a dean of a law school yesterday because I'll be doing something with their school next week, actually. But we were talking about how, blogs never used to be a thing as much, or if they were very high level because lawyers traded on knowledge. They kept the information to themselves and they sold the information as part of their service, right? So if you were a non-lawyer, you can't possibly get the information you need to do something yourself on the internet. It basically wasn't there. You would have to, the only thing that was available was the law itself. And a regular layperson is probably not going to go and read through it and become their own advocate. They usually will hire an attorney. That's why this whole business exists, right? But now content is so important, and it's changed because it's not like, hey, here's a scenario with a problem. If you need a solution, call me. Now It's like, here's a scenario and a problem that you might be having. Here are a couple of different ways to solve it. Here are things you should be thinking about if you're trying to solve it. If you want any more help, give me a call. And so that second part that used to never be available publicly and for free, especially, is now all over the internet. And it's just interesting because a lot of, I think, lawyers are sort of worried to give away their information. But I think the reality is that someone who's going to use that information, do it on their own, wasn't going to hire you in the first place, right? By giving away more of your knowledge, you're just actually convincing people and showing them that you know what the hell you're talking about, and that gives them more confidence to actually work with you, right? So I think the reason I'm saying all this is because from my perspective, I saw that nobody was writing about immigration technology. I saw that nobody was really focusing on even building immigration technology. But I saw that immigration lawyers and in-house folks were looking for solutions, right? And so my thinking was, as I was launching LaborLess, why don't I write about my whole process about launching this thing? Why don't I start writing about how people can do this, whether or not they go with my service? So I wrote a blog, literally my first blog post ever. It's called Electronic LCA Posting. I think it was called 3 Ways to Get Started or something, right? Kind of a standard blog title. And I posted that in March of 2018, which is when we launched. So it's been now over 2 years. That blog so I've been updating it. This year I updated it now during coronavirus because a couple of things came out that are that at the time weren't available yet. But that blog has been seeing so many views every single day. It's picked up like crazy because of what I just said. Coronavirus, people need to work from home. They got to do this stuff electronically. They're searching, how do I do this at home? They're not searching for me or my solution. They're searching for answers on the internet. And my blog provides them with an answer. And they can do the other 2 ways that I said that they can do this, which is sort of on your own. But when you need to do it quickly, you need to do it right, and you need to do it with an expert, you're probably going to be willing to pay someone to do it for you. And so that's why folks are reaching out to me. So I think content is so important because you're educating people and making them feel comfortable with what it is that you do. And you don't hide the secrets. You share the secrets with them. But because you share the secrets with them, they're like, oh, I get it now. This is way over my head. Why don't I just work with you as an expert? You know what I mean? So that's my reasoning. The Slack community I set up is called GMI Rocket, the Global Mobility and Immigration Rocket Ship. A little kitschy, but my whole thing was like, I'm not the only one in the immigration industry. You as well, right? We're both in the immigration industry, trying to get ourselves in front of people through marketing, through sharing content, et cetera. But a lot of immigration lawyers are really good at what they do, which is immigration law, but they're not as good at as somebody else might be on the marketing side. And so if you don't have the ability to hire a marketer, if you don't have the ability to hire someone in-house to write blogs or whatever, you can join this channel. You could reach out to me. They could reach out to you because this is obviously your forte as well, and sort of leverage experts like us to get more content out there, to be better at marketing, and to eventually get more business in a way that is new to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's an amazing opportunity. And I love the fact that you talked about, just none of that sounded all that complex. I mean, you talked about all the stuff you have to do, sharing your content, but this is knowledge that you already have. So I think it's important to just not be self-conscious about this and just get it out there.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I personally love your content. I think that's how we actually got connected with each other. And ironically, we happen to know some of the same people, which is also cool.
Exactly.
And one thing I really love about these platforms, and you talked about blogging too, is like a lot of it, you're right, there are a lot of, not just even lawyers, but professionals in general, just think, hey, this is stuff that people should be paying for, my knowledge. But the thing is, like, if you want that wallet out, like ready to buy, ready to go person, like that content builds the trust. I mean, like, you have a very solid brand. I see your engagement and everything, but how often do you get people on the phone that are just excited to talk to you because they've seen that stuff?
It's weird, that's such a good question. And it's on the phone, it's actually more, I feel it more in person. So I've actually been, and this is totally a weird thing for me, so I'm not trying to sound cool or like whatever. I've gone to conferences where people are like, "Oh my God, Roman, I see your stuff all the time. Like, I've literally had someone take a picture with me before." And keep in mind, this is an immigration conference. This is not Hollywood,
Yeah.
right? But because I put myself out there, I put my videos out there, my face is out there, my content is out there, I respond to every single person who sends me a message, every single person who comments on my post. I engage with them. I build relationships, right? Like really, I mean, I have good conversations with people on LinkedIn. And for those who I've never met, when we finally do meet in person, and I talk to so many people, so and I'm one of those people who's like not very good at remembering names. So especially if we haven't really spoken in person or whatever yet. So I'm like, people come to me, they're like, "Oh my God," and I was like, "Oh right, please remind me who you are." Not in a rude way. I just, you know, it's a really fascinating thing, and the reason I'm so passionate about the whole marketing side of things is because anybody could do this. Anybody in our industry can do this. It doesn't have to just be me or one or two other people. Every immigration lawyer can have their own brand and be known for that brand. And if they put that brand out there via various types of content, um, opportunities will come up and partnerships will be formed and new connections will be made, and then eventually business will grow.
Yeah, because a lot of these tools are free or very inexpensive. Like I don't,
Totally.
maybe you have like a paid LinkedIn account that's $3 a month, but the content's free. I mean, it just does take a little bit of your time and dedication. But that's cool. But no, I love the fact you're broadcasting that out because I know it really helps people too. And I think for people that really want to, like, well, people like me that like want to learn more about the immigration industry and how we can actually help people, that's really the stuff that we can gravitate towards and realize that, hey, like, is something that we have something that's important to somebody? Because it's hard to put yourself in the shoes of your consumer sometimes. And I feel like that does kind of happen sometimes with, like, with the firms I'm working with the immigrants they're helping and kind of the life events they're having. Not that they don't care, but it's just like, sometimes you get a little detached from that. And I feel like content really helps with that. You've done a really good job at it. But I really appreciate you hopping on the phone or hopping on the live call today, Roman. Do you have anything else you kind of want to share about your company? And then also, we're going to stick a few links to Roman's things down in the comments as well.
Awesome.
So I think you did mention, what was your blog post again? It was 3 tips to.
Oh yeah, it was how to get started with electronic LCA posting for all the immigration lawyers out there. But I think for right now, for folks who are dealing with this, they're Googling this stuff already. So it's kind of been interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that I would say is that for immigration lawyers to be okay with utilizing services that supplement what they do. Like don't try to do everything yourself. Spend a little bit of money, spend a little bit of effort on outsourcing the things that either you're not good at or you could be good at if you didn't have a career already as an immigration lawyer. Have someone else do that for you and have that build on top of your business. I've found that it's so exciting to work with people who are just like, I'm going to focus on my law stuff and I'm going to let you do the content, or I'm going to let you do the marketing automation, from your perspective. And you literally see the results of your work because they're doubling down on their work without having to worry about how their marketing is going because you're taking care of marketing. But then of course your marketing or your automation or whatever else you do for them funnels back into their business. So I just think for lawyers, like, you don't have to be tech savvy to use technology. You just have to work with the right people who know how to use it. And I think that once folks wrap their heads around that idea, good things will come. I'll just put it that way.
Oh yeah, people are looking you up online. You might as well put some effort into it, make sure things are going well. And that's one thing I love about content too, is it really tells you a lot about the type of person you're going to be working with. It's I don't know, but I get a lot of lawyers on the phone like, yeah, we're referral only. We don't need to do any of that. I'm like, what would help you get a few more of those is maybe just kind of broadcasting out a little bit.
That's it. Totally. I've always been fascinated by referral only firms because word of mouth is such a huge way of getting business. But if you don't have a presence online and if you don't have a brand that can outlive the relationship, because typically word of mouth comes from somebody who did work with you personally. If something, God forbid, happens to that person, they're out in terms of being your sales funnel. If you don't have control over your own destiny, you're just relying on something that may have been going well for you, but can, for reasons totally outside of your control or totally like random that have nothing to do with business, just can cut off that funnel completely, right? So like, work with the people who are giving you personal referrals, continue, like, love them, appreciate them for whatever it is that they're doing, but also start realizing that like you should put your sales funnel at least to some degree into your own hands too, so that you can control it, again, in case something happens to that person. Or, you know, what if they change their mind? What if they found someone else? Like, you don't know who else is getting their attention, right? What if they found someone else who does great work as well, but they're a little bit cheaper, or they're a little bit more expensive but faster and have better like, you don't know. So yeah, I mean, totally, right? Like, if your funnels are just coming from other individuals, make sure to massage that and take care of them, and keep those things coming, but start taking a little bit of responsibility for the funnels yourself, just in case. Or if not just in case, now you've got two places where you're getting referrals and your business has just doubled. It's a win-win situation.
Yeah, no, and the power of reviews too is just so massive that it's, if you are getting referrals only, like, start asking for a few of those things. Like, if they're willing to like give you one of their friends to work with and be like, hey, like, we trust you enough to send this person to you, ask them to write something short for you. Because you're right, though, you do want something that's going to outlive you, but you want to have things in your business that do the work for you.
Right.
So like, one amazing thing I think you're solving is, you have this very manual process that's existed for a long time that's now very condensed and can be accessed from a laptop.
Right.
That's really nice. And right now, like, I know a lot of firms are thinking about like, oh my God, how am I going to do this?
Yeah.
The ones that were kind of prepared are, it's like, yeah, it wasn't that bad working from home.
Yeah, totally. 100%. 100%. It's almost like, everyone's struggling right now to some degree, but, I even feel it myself. My work is fully digital, and my lifestyle in terms of work hasn't changed much, now that everyone's sort of working from home. And the law firms that I've been working with prior to coronavirus, they haven't even emailed me, right? They're just literally, from what we do, business as usual, because we had set them up to succeed in sort of a digital realm. And yeah, just, it's always like, to prepare is always a good thing. It's not like we sell automation because we want to prepare you for the end of the world. But if you start getting a younger staff that wants to work from home more, if something happens to the owner of the firm, but they want to continue running the business while they're recovering, things happen. And to have flexibility and control to continue your business as much as you can, I think, is just a smart investment these days. So we can probably go on about this forever, but maybe we'll save that for another day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks so much for hopping on, Roman. I really appreciate you hopping on. So guys, feel free to check the comments if you'd like to get in touch with Roman's company. And also, if you need anything from an Immigration Finder, feel free to visit us. But I think what Roman's doing is really awesome, like, because it's helping a lot of people, and it's helping a lot of immigrants too. So it's important to remember that all the value gets passed through. The immigrants are helping the employers are helping the economy. And it's really just kind of how you build a healthy ecosystem of business. So thanks so much for hopping on again, Roman. Hey, we'll catch up later. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.